More videos about the Austro-Hungarian Navy means more ironclads and pre-dreadnoughts. In the mid to the end of the 19th century was a time when wind-powered sailing boats were still in use, but ironclads already started to pop up and gaining more traction around the world. These ships were a huge step forward in naval technology, as moving away from the fragile wood-built ships meant more destructive power and more protection available for people on the sea to hurt each other. Just imagine, you are peacefully floating around on sea and sitting confidently in your wooden ship looking for other ships to hurt. Then suddenly this other metal-built ship appears in the horizon and you two getting into a fight. At this point you realize that your ship sucking up bullets like a sponge while the other one is like... The appearance of the ironclads meant that all existing navy ships just shifted into obsolescence and a new naval race started. A naval race every seafaring country had to take a part of, including the Austro-Hungarian Empire. Although the empire was fairly broke at this time, also their docks could not build large enough ships to take on other navies, they did build few good ships. The Kaiser Max class was the first ironclads the Empire funded and commissioned. They were originally built in the 1860s as broadside ironclads and taken part of the 7 Weeks' War, so they've seen some action against Italy. When the war was over, they got modernized, but they didn't do much going ahead. In 1873, as they were in a really bad condition, the Admiralty decided to get rid of them and build new ships. However, the Empire's parliament had different ideas. They needed all available funds to rebuild the army after the Prussians wiped the floor with them in 1866 at the Battle of Königgrätz. Also, the Hungarian side of the empire was not too keen to spend money on the navy. It's always the Hungarians. So the head of the navy, Friedrich von Pöck, went to Vienna and asked for money. We need new ships, as these ones are very old, they don't really work anymore, and they're not good. We don't have money to build new ships. What do you mean we don't have money to build new ships? I need my ships. Too bad, too bad. Whatever, then whatever. Like, can I get some money to rebuild them? Yeah, sure. That's must be cheaper than build new ones, right? Right? So now that the parliament approved the rebuild, the Admiralty executed a sneaky plan. The old ships were broken up. They only kept the engines, armor plate and some other equipment. Then they built brand new ships using these old parts. To make this even more hidden, the new ships were assigned the same name as the old ones, keeping them under the same naval registry, and the recommission was marked as conversion, not a new construction. Sneaky. The 3 new ships, I mean rebuilt ships, were commissioned between 1875 and 1878. 3 ships were commissioned: the SMS Kaiser Max, the SMS Don Juan de Austria and the SMS Prince Eugen. Although keeping the engines and armor made the builds significantly cheaper than other ships, they were not on the bleeding edge of innovation anymore when they were launched. The ships were around 76 meters long, around 15 meters wide and had 6.15 meters draft. As per weight, they were 3,548 long tons and needed a crew of around 440 men. As it was common for ironclads of the period, they had pronounced ram bows so they could ram other ships in case they get close enough. The ships had no significant superstructure, but during modernization later in their life, a small conning tower was erected. Also, the ships were originally fitted with a 3-masted rig, but later these were removed and replaced with masts with fighting tops for light guns. These ships were casemate ships, which concentrated the main batteries in the centrally located armored casemate, so they normally could only shoot broadside. However, these ships actually had the front gun pairs in an angled gun port, so they could shoot forward too, but not backward. Guns facing backward, please, we are moving forward, we leave the reverse gun for the cowards. They had somewhat okay weaponry, with 8 210mm guns on the broadsides made by Krupp, not Skoda guns. How? Why? Other than these, they carried 4 4 9cm and 2 7cm landing guns, also various smaller calibers. To complement the main armament, also 4 35cm torpedo tubes were installed, one in a bow, one in stem, and one on each broadside. The ship's armor protection was ok for the time. The armored belt was 203mm thick and was capped with 115mm thick transverse bulkheads either end of the citadel. These ships had a fairly boring career, partially due to not much happening with the Austro-Hungarian Empire at this time. Also, at this point the Empire was not swimming in money, and maintaining warships is not a cheap hobby. First time they actually did anything was in 1881 when Prince Eugen was mobilized for the first time to take part in an international naval demonstration against the Ottoman Empire. After this, they only made one long journey to Spain in 1888 to take part in the Barcelona Universal Exposition. They were withdrawn from the service in the early 1900s and converted for secondary roles. Kaiser Max and Don Juan de Austria became barrack ships, and Prince Eugen became a repair ship and was renamed to Vulcan. From this point again not much happened to them. After World War I, Italy seized Kaiser Max and Vulcan, regardless both should go to Royal Yugoslav Navy. Italy refused to hand over Vulcan, so her fate is unknown, but Kaiser Max was transferred to Yugoslavia and renamed to Tivat. From this point, what happened to the ship? Not clear. She was either scrapped in 1924 or kept in the Yugoslav inventory until the country was overrun by the Axis powers during World War II and falling back into Italian hands. We just don't know. The third ship, Don Juan de Austria, sank under uncertain circumstances in 1919 before she could be seized by the Allied powers. And that's it. No happy end for these ships either. They just got scrapped or sunk after the war and got sort of forgotten. And this was it for this video. See you in the next one. Oh, I forgot to say that if you already got this far in the video, you could subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out on future ones. Bye!